The world's largest so-called democracy has just been damned by the United States as being run by a rogue government clearly out of control of the law. In the just-released country report on human rights practices, the US state government has produced its in-depth analysis of the current state of India under Narendra Modi's BJP government. The shocking report highlights how the country's government has increasingly ignored the laws holding its society together. Historically, India has a mature and effective legal system in place, but over recent years the system has been both ignored and abused by the government to target its critics and political opponents, and more particularly religious minorities in the country. The report refers to many areas where the Supreme Court has heavily criticised its own government for its failures to respect human rights and prevent religious violence in, for example, the recent violence in Manipur. But more concerningly, the report details an extensive list of abuses that would be more usually associated with a third world dictatorship rather than a democracy. These include credible reports of arbitrary or unlawful killings, including extra-judicial killings, enforced disappearances, reports of torture by the government, harsh and life-threatening prison conditions, arbitrary arrest and detention of political prisoners, transnational repression against individuals in another country, punishment of family members for alleged offences by a relative, particularly those of Sikh heritage in the diaspora with family members in the Punjab. It also reports extensively on the serious restrictions on freedom of expression and media freedom, including violence and threats against journalists, unjustified arrests or prosecutions of journalists, and censorship, confirming other independent organisations' assessments that India no longer has a free press. And particularly highlighting the deceptive nature of India's failing democracy, the report details anti-terrorism laws that have been deliberately created by the government to detain and silence political opponents, such as the National Security Act and the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act, both of which have been widely used and abused by the government. As Narendra Modi tries to sell India on the world stage as the world's largest democracy, this shocking US government report has just revealed how his increasingly authoritarian regime is turning the great nation of India now into one of the world's least democratic and dangerous nations on earth. You've been watching Satellite TV News. Don't forget to click on that subscribe button to make sure you get to see stories as they're broadcast. And of course, if you have any comments or opinions on any of our news stories, you can comment below. Or why not drop us a direct message at message@satellitetv.com. We'd like to hear from you. In the meantime, thanks for watching for Satellite TV News. I'm Govt in London.